This video is brought to you by the EA Creator Network. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and a special warm welcome if you're brand new here. My name's KiwiSimsKate, Kiwi because I'm from New Zealand, Sims because I love the Sims, and Kate because that's my name. Now, if you haven't heard already, I actually got the incredible privilege recently to build 3 official lots for the Sims 4 Adventure Awaits expansion pack. And I am still pinching myself, even though it's been released now for a couple of weeks. It's been out in the world, people have been playing it. It's so surreal watching people move into the homes that I created. If you do end up picking up this expansion pack on the EA app or thesims.com, or any other Sims content for that matter, you can actually use my creator code KiwiSimsKate in the promo box at checkout, and that will directly support me and making my content. So if you do choose to use my creator code, I am incredibly grateful. Thank you so very much, my friends. Right, back to this build. Now, this is one of my 3 official lots for Adventure Awaits. So if you have this pack and you open up Gibby Point, which is the new world that came with this pack, you will see this build amongst all the others. And in fact, this is the cheapest build that your Sims can move into as a residential. It has 2 bedrooms and they're furnished for a double bed and a single bed, so obviously you can use those as you wish. And then the layout for this house, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I got some inspiration through a few different images I found on Pinterest for this kind of contemporary rustic style, which go and check out my other build where I talk about the behind the scenes process of building for this pack. I'll link it here above at the top of this video, and that will explain a little bit of my general process of finding inspiration for the official lots. But this layout in particular, I really ended up liking. It's not particularly traditional in terms of a house layout, a residential layout, because the 2 sort of living spaces in the house, the kitchen and the living room or the lounge, they're at opposite ends of the house. So as you walk into the front door, you walk straight into the kitchen and dining space, which is obviously quite small because this is a starter home. So it was, quite basic in terms of what I could include in here. I've also, though, managed to squeeze in a little chimney with a fireplace because the new fireplaces we got with Adventure Awaits are super cute. So I wanted to use this little fireplace here, which is the cheaper of the 3 new fireplaces we got. And then down the hallway at the other end of the house is the living room. So it's quite separate from the entrance where the kitchen is. But both ends of the houses have a door at them. So actually, if you wanted the living room to technically be the front of the house, you could probably shift a few things and kind of make the layout a little bit different in terms of the flow of the house, but that's totally up to you. Otherwise, you can just play it as is, and obviously you'd easily be able to move in here with 1 sim because it does come under the 20,000 simoleon starter budget. I also wanted a few extra features in the starter which were difficult to fit into the budget, but I managed to squeeze some things in. So I really wanted a porch because this style, and you can, if you look around the world, pretty much all of the homes have a cute little porch in the front of them. So I definitely knew I wanted to use that, and I wanted to play around with the new beams and spandrels and fencing and the kind of porch style flooring as well. This house is also base game and Adventure Awaits only. So you'll see that my username KiwiSimsKate is bouncing around the screen every now and then. That is basically because the version of the game that I used to build this on was an early version, so it's not the final software, and also I had shaders in here, so it will look probably a little bit different to your game. And obviously if you have more packs and more kits, then you'll be able to furnish this with a few more items as well. I don't know about you, but I personally quite like a simple starter home. I like my starters to have enough items in there that I can function as a household. Like I've got everything I need, in terms of the basics. But when I create my Sims for the first time, I'm often still fleshing out their storylines and their personalities and what they like to do and what they're into, what their skills are. So I quite like having a simple starter home that I can then add more personality to. So whilst I used a lot of the new items, and this house is very much made to fit into the world around it, it's not overly personalized. So your Sims can add those personal touches as you go with your gameplay, as they build their skills, as you discover what activities they're into, or maybe you can take inspiration from some of the decorative items that I've already added in the home as well. But for the most part, it's fairly neutral. I really liked the color scheme that I end up using with this. I can't remember the original color scheme I went for. It wasn't hugely different to what I ended up with, but I love this mixture of kind of a lighter stone mixed with some of these darker wood tones on the porch and the beams and the spandrels. And then one of the last things I thought of when I built this home, just to add a bit more personality, I was trying to come up with ways to add detail without spending money, which is so difficult because almost everything costs money in The Sims when you're building, unless you're using cheats or the live edit or the debug menu, which I was not able to use with this build. So what I came up with is putting some skylights in. I thought that is a really nice touch to make this home look a little more modern than maybe some of the others that are close by in the town. I wanted this one to feel like it was a bit more new. So I put these glass skylights in to bring that feeling into the build. And I didn't just want to add one, I wanted to add one on the front and one on the back as well. So I sort of strategically placed them above the two living areas. So there's one above the kitchen and one above the living room. And I think what that does as well is it brings some nice light inside the home at different times of the day without having to use large windows. And of course, the larger windows I used, generally the more expensive they were. So I used these newish base game windows that we got fairly recently in one of the base game updates. I think it was the birthday update at the start of 2025 we got those. And they give a really nice simple touch. They're very modern, but they're almost timeless. Like they don't necessarily feel super modern, but they're not very traditional or old looking either. So I liked that they could pass as this sort of contemporary style. Also, they have this really lovely dark swatch that I think pops against some of this light horizontal siding that I used as well. And then with the landscaping, that was really difficult because I love to landscape. I love to give really full gardens to my Sims. I feel like from the exterior of a build, it really makes the build impressive when you've got lots of landscaping and everything. And of course, all of that costs money as well because I wasn't using live edit or debug. So I was limited in what I could add. I pushed the boat out a lot in terms of my budget. This house comes just under 20,000. It's not a cheap starter home, but I really did try and put in as much detail as I could possibly afford without leaving your Sims entirely broke after buying this. So I made use of a little bit of terrain paint, for example, which costs nothing. And I just went really sparingly on the landscaping, and picking out just a few simple plants as well that then I repeated around the build. At the time of building it, there were a few items in Live Edit and Debug that I obviously didn't have access to. And there are some plants in there from Adventure Awaits that are so beautiful. And now, even if they were available at the time of building this, I wouldn't have been able to use them anyway. But if you have this pack, go into Live Edit and Debug and grab those plants to landscape your builds in this world of Gibby Point. They are so gorgeous and they're very reminiscent of a lot of plants that I see around here in New Zealand. Thank you for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed this little speed build of one of my 3 official lots for Adventure Awaits. If you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and check out my other videos about Adventure Awaits. I've got my behind the scenes video, and I'll also be putting out a speed build for my second starter home, which was the Starter Home Plus in the different neighborhood of Crystal Valley in Gibby Point. Thanks for watching. Take care out there. Bye.